Good morning. Welcome to Mantra 108. We are on our 21st day, our last day of our 21-day practice. So this will be the last day that we chant our Asato Mā mantra. And then I'll be right back here tomorrow and we'll start a new mantra. Another ancient Vedic mantra that I'll be very excited to teach you. Good morning, Corinne. I'll be very excited to teach you our new mantra, which has very rich, deep meaning as well. But I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the importance of balancing our spiritual practice, our mantra practice, with allowing ourselves to also experience the fullness of our human nature. And speaking for myself, I can tell you that I've been going through quite the roller coaster ride of emotions, sadness and fear and anger and guilt and just a whole array of human emotions. And there's this thing, I may have talked about this much earlier in our practice, but there's something called spiritual bypassing. And this is when we sink into our spiritual practice in order to avoid feeling our feelings and to avoid dealing with emotional and psychological issues that are very human issues that might be hanging us up in moving forward with our spiritual practice or just moving forward in our lives as human beings. Good morning, Cindy. And so I wanted to speak to that for a moment. I heard something just yesterday, by one of my dear teachers, Christopher Wallace, who is a tantric scholar and teaches me so many things about the ancient practices of tantra, tantric Shaivism actually. And so he read something yesterday and noted that even though this was written 100 years ago, it is so applicable to what we're going through right now. We're in new territory here. Everything that we've known as our regular daily life practices has just kind of been pulled from underneath us. And now we're learning new ways to be. We're learning about what our future might look like, what our future might feel like. So I wanted to read this just as Christopher read it yesterday, because it is so poignant and so perfectly stated for what we're going through right now. So this is from R.M. Rilke, and many of you know R.M. Rilke, Rainer Maria Rilke. So he was an Austrian-born poet and novelist, and he lived during the late 1800s and early 1900s. And his poetry was German language written. And many people, many critics note that Rilke's work is very mystical. So if you haven't read him, I encourage you to do so. He writes some very beautiful, profound stuff. But this that I'm going to read you right now is from a book of his, published more than 100 years ago. And this book is called Letters to a Young Poet. And so here's what he says. It seems to me that all our sadnesses are moments of tension that we feel as paralysis because we can no longer experience our banished feelings. Because we are alone with this unfamiliar presence that has entered us. Because we feel momentarily abandoned by what we have believed and grown accustomed to. Because we can't keep standing as the ground shifts under our feet. That is why the sadness passes over like a wave. The new presence inside us, that which has come to us, has entered our heart, has found its way to its innermost chamber, and it is no longer even there. It is already in our blood, and we don't know what it is. We could easily be persuaded that nothing happened, yet something has changed inside us. As a house changes when a guest comes into it, we cannot say who has entered. We may never know. But there are many indications that the future enters us in just this way, to transform itself within us long before it happens. That is why it is so important to be alone and attentive when you are sad, because the seemingly uneventful and motionless moment when our future steps into us is so much closer to life than any loud and accidental point of time which occurs, as it were, from the outside. So, very profound, I think, for this moment, because I think our future has entered us, is entering us. It feels strange, it feels foreign. It elicits so many human emotions, and it's important that we abide in that sadness, in that fear, in that sense of guilt, because we have privilege and so many don't. So many emotions roiling around, and it's important that we don't step into spiritual bypassing and just do our spiritual practices and not recognize that this moment is profound. This is perhaps the moment that our future has entered us. And along with that comes the acknowledgement that our past has left us. And what does that mean for our future? What does that mean for our future as individuals, as communities, as a nation, as a world? Hopefully we'll be stepping into something that is much more sustainable than our practices have been in the past. So I wanted to just step into that for a moment before we get into our practice today, because I think it's very important to acknowledge that, acknowledge our humanness and acknowledge what we're going through. And then to take up our spiritual practice, because that helps us to be sustained through these changing times. And with that, well, one more thing I'll say. This is, by the way, Happy Easter, everybody. Hey, Kieran, Happy Easter to you too. So this is the day that Christians all over the planet recognize rebirth, recognize renewal, celebrate the fact that we are able to be reborn and renewed. And so I too celebrate that this morning, that whatever this rebirth is for you personally, whatever this renewal is for you that you might celebrate today, I think it's worthy of celebration, of rejoicing the fact that we can all be renewed in any moment. We can all be arisen from the depths of our darkness, our despair, our muddy lives, and rise into the knowledge that we are an expression of the divine. We are a part of that cosmic wholeness, that cosmic grandeur. So in whatever tradition you might celebrate today, I just want to honor that. All right, so this will be our 21st day. We come to the end of our 21-day practice today. But tomorrow morning I'll be back to teach you a brand new mantra. And it's a real doozy as well. So I invite you to join me again tomorrow morning for something brand new. All right, so I see Douglas has just joined. Douglas, I encourage you to circle back to watching the very first part of this video, which of course I'll post on Mantra 108. Any of you that missed the Rilke poem or the Rilke passage that I just read to you, you'll want to catch that. It's very profound. All right, so good morning, Z. Let us begin our practice here on this beautiful Easter morning. Let's attend a little to the muscles of our face. Opening that jaw, letting it move around a bit. Move down to the scalings on the sides of the neck. Give them a little love, a little Easter love. And let's do a couple of neck rolls. And bring the head back to center so that your head is right over your heart right over your pelvis. Sit up nice and tall, drop those shoulders down away from your ears. Let your skin begin to soften, let those shoulders drop down and relax. Take a nice full inhale and release that. And another nice full inhale and release that. And we begin our practice. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya. Asato Mā Sadgamaya, Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya, Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Asato Mā Sadgamaya Tamaso Mā Jyotir Gamaya Mṛtyormā Amṛtaṁ Gamaya Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Sit in the silence of your sound vibration. Sit with the Anahata. And so we come to the end of our 21 days. It's been a great pleasure to be with you each day, each morning, to have this morning practice together. I will be back tomorrow with a brand new mantra. And so if you'd like to continue and do another 21 days with a new mantra, I invite you to join me tomorrow. And on this day of renewal, this day of rising up from the darkness, it really reinforces. I'm so happy that our last day fell on Easter Sunday, symbolic for all of the things that we chant in this mantra. Lead me from illusion to truth. Lead me from darkness to light. Lead me from fear of my own death to the knowledge of my immortality. How perfect that this is our mantra on Easter Sunday. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for practicing with me. I will post this beautiful Rilka piece on our Mantra 108 group. So if you joined in just a little bit after I read that, it's so profound and so perfect for what we're going through in this moment. So I'll post it on our Mantra 108 so you can circle back. And if you want to hear it, hear me read it and talk about it a little bit, you can just go to the front side of this video, which of course I'll post on our Mantra 108 page as well. Have a wonderful Easter day for those of you who practice Christianity. Have a wonderful day of renewal for everyone, and I will perhaps see you in the morning. I love you all. Thanks for being with me.